He may have made a tidy sum on the global speaker circuit since resigning 2 years ago, earning an estimated £5 million in the first 6 months alone. But Boris Johnson has largely shied away from criticising the current Tory leadership. Instead, he's used his platform to drum up support for causes like Ukraine. That is, until he rocked up to the Canada Strong and Free Networking Conference in Ottawa last night. Sharing a stage with another former Prime Minister, Australia's Tony Abbott, here's what he had to say about his successor's flagship health policy.
When I look at some of the things that we're doing now, I think that are being done in the name of conservatism, I think they're absolutely nuts. But we're banning cigars. And what is? I mean, maybe you all think that's a great idea. I just can't see what is the point of banning? Well, the party of Winston Churchill wants to ban. I mean, donnez-moi un break, as they say in Quebec. It's just mad.
I mean, look, you can see why he earns £5 million a year in speakers. Donnez-moi un break is a classic Boris Johnsonism, which must have been trotted out in about 77 different speaking engagements in a year. Anyway, what we need to focus on in what he was criticising Sunak for. There have been suggestions that Johnson would return to the campaign trail to help the Conservatives, but the former PM's intervention now casts doubt on whether Johnson is minded to help Rishi Sunak. The pair have long since had a difficult relationship with Boris's allies, holding him responsible for bringing about his resignation in 2022. So Sunak's proposed smoking ban would make it illegal for anyone turning 15 or younger this year to buy tobacco products. It's faced large swathes of criticism, largely from the libertarian wing of the Conservative Party. It is I don't know about the policy. I'm actually more interested in donnez-moi and break Boris Johnson giving it to Rishi Sunak, because I think that is actually more interesting. I think the policy is slightly weird, but I don't particularly want to debate it. What I want to debate is the fact that there's now been enough distance. Boris can't behave. He was on good behaviour for like 6 months to a year, saying, give the Prime Minister a break, although he did vote against the Prime Minister over this thing called the Windsor Framework, which was sorting out the border with Northern Ireland because of Brexit, which I thought was a bad thing to do. But he's clearly decided, and you heard the laughs he was getting there, he's clearly decided he's going to get the headlines and the attention by popping it to Sunak. And believe me, I mean, Sunak is now quite an easy target. And I could kind of get all pompous and say it's clearly a leadership bid. Boris is coming back after the election.
Is he?
But at the very least, there's now clear blue water between a Prime Minister who's clearly going to lose the next election and Boris Johnson, who knows what he'll do next.
So is he going to come back?
Yeah. And that's the point, isn't it? Because I think, when you look at Boris and you look at it couldn't have gone worse for Rishi Sunak. Boris Johnson knows that his time was up, and we understand the Partygate and all that sort of business, and there's some people who will never vote for him again and all that sort of business. Having said that, there is a loyal group of supporters around the country who, when he speaks sort of common sense. But I think we must have a look at this policy, because I think there is a problem with it. If New Zealand have given it up, I think, as soon as you ban something and you make it, what have we done by banning cigarettes and smoking? So, many of us, perhaps when we were growing up in the 70s particularly, smoking behind the bike sheds was kind of, or the 80s was kind of de rigueur, that's what you did.
I was about to say, doing it when you're 10 is a bit...
We've recognised that is not sensible. But what have we done? We sent a whole load of teenagers, particularly, into vaping. So... you replace one with another. So I think you've got to be very careful what you wish for. And I think it's much better to teach people the public health, to make sure that they're making choices for themselves, but also, ultimately, surely they should be making those choices.
New Zealand went back on it because they're going to lose too much money from the tax that they make from it. That's why went back on it. And ultimately, that's what matters most to every government, is how much money you can make. For our health, yes, it's stupid that eventually a 35-year-old can't buy cigarettes, but someone who's 36 could go and buy them. That's mental. But in 150 years, no one gets to buy cigarettes, and that's all you've got to do. You've got to phase it out. I think it's a good thing for the NHS. It's a good thing for our kids.
I do like the idea of 35-years hanging outside the supermarket, saying to a 36-year-old...
But the idea that smoking will...
Here's £10,000, can you go in and buy me 20 Rothman?
Yeah, exactly. But the idea that if the UK bans smoking will end in the UK, that we'll just bootleg them from abroad.
They'll come over on the boat.
They'll come over on the boat, so they'll come duty-free or whatever. It won't get rid of smoking.
That's how you cure the asylum problem. Smugglers will make more money smoggling cigarettes in the boats.
I think there's quite a lot of stuff which is smuggled in from other places, but there we go.